Turgut Özal was a very important figure in Turkish history. He brought big changes to the country. He was born in Malatya on October 13, 1927. His family was from the region. His father was a bank clerk, and his mother was a primary school teacher. This background gave him a solid start in life. He grew up during a time of significant transformation for the young Turkish Republic. His early years in Malatya shaped his understanding of Anatolian life. These experiences would later influence his political views. He was known for his intelligence and diligence from a young age. Özal showed great promise in his education. He completed his primary and secondary schooling in various Anatolian cities. This was due to his father's job assignments. He then moved to Istanbul for higher education. He enrolled in the prestigious Istanbul Technical University. There, he studied electrical engineering. He successfully graduated in 1950 with an engineering degree. This technical background would prove very useful in his later career. It gave him a practical approach to problem solving. His university years were critical in developing his analytical skills. After graduating, Özal began his professional career. He started working at the Electrical Power Resources Survey Administration. This was a state institution. He gained valuable experience in the energy sector here. His work focused on planning and development. This was a crucial area for Turkey's infrastructure. He showed great dedication and competence in his role. His early career was marked by a commitment to public service. He was keen to contribute to Turkey's modernization. He believed in the power of technical expertise to drive progress. His quest for knowledge did not stop there. Özal traveled to the United States in the early 1950s. He went there for postgraduate studies. He specialized in engineering economics. This field was relatively new at the time. This education broadened his understanding of economic principles. It also exposed him to Western economic models. He returned to Turkey with new ideas. He then worked in various state planning organizations. He became the Deputy General Director of the Electrical Power Resources Survey Administration. His international experience was a significant asset. Turgut Özal's entry into high-level politics was not immediate. He first gained extensive experience in bureaucracy. He served as Undersecretary at the State Planning Organization, DPT, from 1967 to 1971. This was a very influential position in shaping Turkey's economic policies. He also worked as a consultant for the World Bank between 1971 and 1973. These roles provided him with a deep understanding of both national and international economic systems. He made an unsuccessful bid for parliament in 1977. He ran as a candidate for the National Salvation Party, MSP, from Izmir. This early attempt, though not successful, indicated his political ambitions. The political landscape in Turkey was turbulent in the late 1970s. Economic difficulties were widespread. Following the 1980 military coup, Özal returned to a prominent government role. He was appointed Deputy Prime Minister in charge of economic affairs. This was under the military government of Bülent Ulusu. During this period, he was instrumental in crafting the 24 Ocak Kararları, January 24 decisions, in 1980. These decisions aimed to liberalize the Turkish economy. This marked a significant shift from previous state-controlled policies. His work during this time laid the groundwork for his later political career. He became known as a key figure for economic reform. In 1983, Turgut Özal took a decisive step. He founded the Anavatan Partisi, Motherland Party, ANP. This party aimed to unite various center-right political groups. ANP presented itself as a modern, reformist party. It promised stability and economic prosperity. Özal's leadership was central to the party's appeal. He connected with a broad range of voters. He used modern campaign techniques effectively. The party's establishment marked a new era in Turkish politics after the military intervention. It sought to bridge different ideological divides. ANP achieved a significant victory in the general elections held in November 1983. The party won a majority of seats in the parliament. Consequently, Turgut Özal became the Prime Minister of Turkey. He formed the 45th government of the Republic. His premiership lasted from 1983 until 1989. During these years, He focused on implementing his economic liberalization program. He also sought to strengthen Turkey's international relations. His government brought a period of relative political stability. He was a dominant figure in Turkish politics throughout the 1980s. His pragmatic approach was a hallmark of his leadership. Before Özal's major reforms, Turkey's economy was largely state-controlled. It relied heavily on import substitution policies. This meant trying to produce goods domestically instead of importing them. However, this system led to inefficiencies. It also caused shortages of foreign currency. By the late 1970s, Turkey faced a severe economic crisis. There was high inflation and unemployment. The 24 Ocak kararları, or January 24 decisions, were introduced in 1980. Özal played a crucial role in their preparation, while he was Başbakanlık Müsteşarı, under-secretary to the Prime Minister. These decisions were a turning point for the Turkish economy. The 24 Ocak kararları aimed to transform Turkey's economy. The goal was to move towards a free market system. Key elements included devaluing the Turkish lira. This was done to make exports cheaper and more competitive. Price controls were lifted on many goods. State subsidies were reduced significantly. The government also encouraged foreign investment. It aimed to integrate Turkey into the global economy. These measures were bold and controversial. They represented a fundamental shift in economic thinking. Özal was the main architect and champion of this new direction. He believed these reforms were necessary for long-term growth. As Prime Minister, Özal vigorously implemented these liberalization policies. His government prioritized export-oriented growth. New incentives were provided for exporters. Foreign trade regulations were simplified. He also focused on reducing the state's role in the economy. Privatization of state-owned enterprises began, although slowly at first. These policies led to a significant increase in Turkish exports. The economy started to open up to the world. Consumer goods became more widely available. There was a noticeable change in the economic landscape. Many praised these changes for modernizing Turkey. Beyond these macroeconomic reforms, Özal also initiated major infrastructure projects. The most notable among these was the Güneydoğu Anadolu Projesi, GAP, or Southeastern Anatolia Project. This was a massive regional development project. It aimed to use the waters of the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. The project involved building dams for irrigation and hydroelectric power. The master plan for GAP was developed in 1989 during his tenure. Özal saw GAP as a way to develop a less developed region. It was also intended to boost agricultural production. These projects showcased his vision for Turkey's long-term development. In 1989, Turgut Özal was elected as the 8th president of Turkey. He was elected by the Grand National Assembly. This marked a transition from his role as prime minister. As president, he continued to advocate for his reformist agenda. He aimed to make the presidency a more active and influential office. He took a keen interest in foreign policy. He worked to strengthen Turkey's ties with the West. He also sought new relationships with Turkic republics after the Soviet Union's collapse. His presidency was a period of significant geopolitical shifts. Özal tried to position Turkey as a key regional player. A dramatic event marked Özal's time in the public eye. On June 18, 1988, while he was still prime minister, he survived an assassination attempt. This happened during ANAP's party congress. A gunman named Kartal Demirağ shot at him. Özal was wounded in his right hand. He famously continued his speech shortly after the attack. This event highlighted the political tensions of the era. The assailant was captured and sentenced. Özal later pardoned Demirağ in 1992, a decision that drew some comment. This incident showed his resilience under pressure. It became a defining moment of his career. Regarding his personal life, Turgut Özal married Semra Yeğenmen in 1954. Semra Özal became a well-known public figure herself, particularly as First Lady. They had 3 children, Ahmet, Zeynep, and Efe. His family life was generally kept private, but his wife was often by his side at public events. Turgut Özal passed away on April 17, 1993, while still in office as president. His death was sudden and attributed to heart failure. However, there were later speculations and investigations into the cause of his death. In 2012, his grave was exhumed, but autopsy results were inconclusive regarding foul play. Turgut Özal's legacy in modern Turkey is profound and multifaceted. He is widely credited with transforming the Turkish economy. He moved it from a closed, state-dominated system to an open, market-oriented one. His reforms spurred economic growth and integrated Turkey into the global economy. However, his policies also led to increased income inequality and debt for some. Politically, he changed the dynamics of Turkish leadership. He was a charismatic and dominant figure. Today, Malatya Turgut Özal University bears his name, honoring his contributions. He remains a controversial but undeniably influential leader in Turkish history.